Okay guys, today is lesson 8. It's the same lesson as yesterday, except I think we're going to be ending up with some quadratics as a result. Okay, so remember the quiz that you just did? What always happened? You did your rationals work, and then what did you end up with at the end? You ended up with a linear equation that you guys had to work out after. So in this lesson, I'm assuming you're going to end up with some quadratic stuff. Okay, let's try to solve this equation algebraically. So what was that first step anyway? If there's more than one term, what do you need to do? If there's more than one term, multiply by LCM. Okay, in this case, what is the LCM? It's the binomials, right? And if there was a monomial, you'd have to figure that out as well. But right now, this question only has binomials. So what I like to do is I like to edit the question with, when you do this step 1, I like to do it right on the question. So we're going to times x plus 1, x minus 1 here. And we're going to times x plus 1, x minus 1 here. That way you're not rewriting stuff and getting annoyed in that sense. Now when you distribute in, I think a lot of you noticed on that question 3 on the quiz some patterns where some stuff was canceling, right? So when it comes in on the first go, here let's use red on the first go, and the x plus 1 would cancel with the x plus 1 and you'd be left with 3x minus 1. And no more denominator, right Fred? Remember that on your quiz? You left it. That was you, right? Yeah, that's the whole point of multiplying through on the LCM, is that you're getting rid of the denominator. Now, this same term is coming in on the second guy. Now, instead of the x plus 1 canceling the x minus 1, and you have to use the x plus 1. So the x plus 1 gets multiplied in. And Joel, what do you need to do on the right side? Yeah, good, the LCM. You forgot that on the quiz, right? So don't make that mistake. And then there you go. There's the first step. That's the best part about multiplying by the LCM, because it gets rid of the denominator. Okay, let's do the right hand side. It's a little bit more. Fred, what do I do? Okay, so you're going with the binomials first? Okay, give me the first one. Okay, good. Give me the last one. Very nice. Now I'll draw you arrows for the outer and the inner. So times and collect. What is it? Speak loud. Yeah, but tell me each term. Good, for 0x. And what do you notice? Is this a difference of squares? Yeah. So that should be quite easy to expand, because the middle term disappeared. Now let's go to the left side. Joel, what is the first one? Very nice. Jolene, what's the next one? Very nice. Jacqueline, on the right side, please distribute. The right side only. Distribute, please. Just distribute. 2x squared minus 2, very nice. On the left side. Shaq. Left side, can you collect terms, please? Good. Okay, very nice. So, Mahad, what type of equation has been left over here? What is this? Linear or quadratic? Why is it quadratic? Because the highest power is 2. Good, it's a quadratic. How to solve quadratics, Zara? You put everything away? Okay, so in this case, where would you want the 0? On the left or the right? Okay, 0 on the left because she wants the coefficient on the x squared positive. Very nice. Can you finish it off, collecting like terms? The 2 cancels. So we're going to add this 2. It's gone. And minus 4x. Very nice. Okay, how to solve this? How to solve quadratics? Usually, check if you can factor. Can you factor that? Take out a 2x. You get x minus 2. Okay, Ashwin, finish it off. What's the solutions? Good. Very nice. So the 0 is coming from the monomial, and the 2 is coming from the binomial. That's the 0 product rule. Now we just have to check those solutions against our NPVs. What were the NPVs? X not allowed to be plus or minus 1. So is these answers okay? Alright. You guys comfortable with that? The only new thing is the quadratic. And they call this quadratic halfway through the equation or the process. They call that the resulting quadratic. That's a good question. Will there be 2 answers for every quadratic? There could be 2, there could be 1, there could be none. Do you remember the discriminant? Next. Oh, I like this one. Do you remember back in yesterday's lesson when there was like 2 different strategies? And it was just like on the quiz. What did you have to do for questions 1 and 2 on the quiz? Cross multiply. Why? Because there was only what on each side? 1 term on each side. So jot that in. 1 term. 1 term. Therefore, what can I do on this one? Cross multiply. What's confusing about this one though? The 2 is not a fraction. How can you easily make 2 a fraction? 2 over 1. Good. Now cross multiply. So the 1 goes up on this guy. And then this x plus 1 goes up on 2. So I don't even know what to say. I do see sometimes students falter on this one because they don't want or know how to get started. My recommendation for you is try something and think back to what you already know. Tap into that prior knowledge. That 2 is just a fraction if you put 1 underneath. So distributing a 1 on the left hand side, that's nothing, and on the right hand side. Now what type of equation is this, Omar? What type? Linear or quadratic? So why is it not linear, McKenna? Okay, good. If the x squares don't cancel, it's quadratic, not linear. Linear is when there's x power 1 only. How to solve quadratics? We did a whole unit on that. Factor. If you can't factor, what else could you do? Quad what? Quad formula. Good. And if you really don't want to do the quad formula, or it's like multiple choice on numeric, what could you also do? Graphing calculator, and what are you trying to find? Zeros of this. So we have to clean that up first before we calculate the zeros. How to clean that up? Move everything? Okay, good. How to move everything? What do we call that before? Dump? I like that one. Dump everything. To which side? In this case, it's the left. Why, Daoud? Keep the x squared positive. Okay, so let's dump everything to the left. That means the right-hand side is 0. So what are we going to do with that 2x and that 2? Subtract them? Okay, so subtract them. And on the left, what do we have? X squared minus 7x minus 8. Is this guy easy to factor? Why? Inspection, right? The 1 here, so easy. Inspection. So how to make this perfect? X minus 8, x plus 1. That was very simple. Solutions to this resulting quadratic. First one is 8, second one is negative 1. Okay, are these both the answers? No. Look at the main part. What about the main part? This x plus 1, what about it? NPV, good. Non-permissible value. X not allowed to be negative 1. So what do we say about this one? Rejected, good. What's another word for that? Good. Extraneous. Sometimes I hear the kids talk about people being extra. Is that a cool thing or not cool? Is it cool to say people are being extra? Nobody wants to say anything. So anyways, you could think about like people being extra, like extraneous. It's extra, extraneous. So the only answer would be, yeah, x equals 8. So this is the solution right here. So only a few more and then it is kind of easy. You just got to practice it and you'll get good at it. Okay, for class example 3A, can we cross multiply? No, you can't. Class example B, can you cross multiply? Okay, well, let's do that one. That one seems a bit easier. Okay, cross multiplying, you got x plus 2. And on the right, you have you want to factor? You don't have to. 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 For the first part anyway, you don't have to. Okay, distributing. On the left, what do we have? And on the right side, what do we have? 2x squared minus 8. Put everything where? The right or the left? Why you want to put everything on the right? Keep x squared positive? Good. So we're subtracting x squared and we're subtracting 2x. Subtracting x squared, subtracting 2x. You end up with 1x squared, a negative 10x, and a negative 8. I can make mistakes too. Better? That was this random. What did I do? I put those together. Do you think that that's a common mistake? How easy is that to happen, right? You think it's a like term and it's not. So I saw that lots on the written when I was marking your guys' test, and that's totally human nature. It's not your fault. You got a lot on your plate. You might be rushing or you're trying to get through stuff, and things slip. It happens. So I would say double check your work, right? You remember that, Ashwin, on that first question? Yeah, the discriminant. Yeah, a couple negatives is a positive, and sometimes you forget or a mistake or whatever. So double check your work. So can I factor this guy? So what is it? Minus 4 and a positive 2 on the factors. So the solutions are 4 and negative 2. So then I go to check against my NPVs. That one's easy because it's factored. So x not allowed to be negative 2. But is this one factored? And somebody said you should factor that. And I said, nah, you don't have to factor it. Well, I did have to in the end, right? So factor that guy. We all know that. That's x plus 2 and x minus 2 is just difference of squares. So what's coming out of there is x can't be plus or minus 2. So we've got some redundancy. So x not allowed to be plus or minus 2. So which one of those gets rejected? So say goodbye to that. This is reject. Or extraneous, however you want to say it. Rejected. Was that okay if I move on? Okay, staring at this, what do you see? Multiply by x? Why would you do that, Carl? Because it's in the bottom. We want to ultimately get rid of what? The denominator. So if we times everything by x, what happens? X squared plus 2x equals 3x? Oh my goodness, that's so nice. Dump everything which way? Dump to the left. So subtracting 3x, you got negative x. How to solve that guy? Factor? Take an x out, you get x negative 1. How to solve that? 0 and 1. Which one's not allowed? Rejected, because right here, NPV, x not allowed to be 0. Okay, so we've seen equations where both answers work. We've seen equations where only one answer works. And now what do you suppose is going to happen next? An equation with no solution. All right. So can we cross multiply? I could do a intermediate step that would allow us to cross multiply, but I think that would just confuse people. Because what do you notice about the two terms that are rational? What do they both have the same of? They have the same denominator. So you could combine the tops. You could. But I think that might confuse some people. So let's just do what we always do. Multiply by the LCM. I don't want to confuse you. So what are we coming in with? X minus 3. Okay, let's just do the right hand side. It looks a lot easier. Everyone's okay with how the bottom and the bottom just disappears kind of thing? It cancels out. Now on the left side, what's going to happen here? Distributing on the first term, what happens? The x minus 3 binomial does what? Cancels, and you're just left with 8x plus 10. That's the first term. Now what are we doing next? You're subtracting 4 of these. And this part in blue, that's where I'm going to lose some of you when you're just distributing a negative. So be very mindful of the sign changing. That's the toughest part. Now it's pretty safe to just collect like terms. How many x's on the left after 8 minus 4 and 10 plus 12? That's easy. Now what do you want to do here? X's on the left or the right? Let's put x's on the right. 10 minus 4 and 22 minus 4. Cool on that? Dividing by 6, we get, and what do you notice about that? That's your NPV. That's the only NPV. Interesting, right? So the only solution that you could possibly get is 3 but x is not allowed to be 3, so therefore this equation has no solution. Okay? So plenty of time to do your homework. Plenty. And it's not too bad of a lesson in the homework. There's only 7 questions. A couple are part A, part B. So please work diligently. If you finish this assignment, go back to yesterday's assignment, work at that. And then please do not skip tomorrow. Tomorrow is a challenging lesson. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Thursday is your practice test. I think we'll do the practice test Friday. I'll do some more review for you guys on Thursday. We'll save the practice test for Friday. And then on Monday, I'll do another review. Actually, I'll save it for Monday because I'll do 2 days of review for you guys. Okay? Thursday and Friday, 2 days of review. Mostly the adding and subtracting. And we could even spend 2 days on lesson 9 if it's challenging. Okay? So I booked extra time for this unit because it's challenging with the algebra. Okay? So I'll let you guys be. You got about half an hour to work.